welcome to The Perspective. I'm Lorie Hartshorn, and thanks for joining me here today. It's going to be an inspiring day. As the winter months settle in, it's easy to feel unmotivated, right? Maybe to not eat so healthy, maybe not stay that active, maybe Netflix and a bag of chips is actually calling your name a little too often. But today, we're joined by someone who can help us get off the couch and break that cycle and get moving again. Christa Baker is a passionate advocate for faith and fitness and sustainable health. And together with her husband, Mike, which is a great story you're going to hear, she co created the Mustard Seed of Health, Firm Foundation, and Fit for Kingdom programs. Christa is a wife, a mom, a fitness coach committed to empowering families to build lasting health, which I love that, by balancing faith and fitness with sustainable habits. I think the key there is sustainable, right? Through her coaching, Christa has helped over 1,000 individuals grow stronger in both body and spirit, creating a legacy of healthier, faith-centered families. Wow, Christa, did
Hi.
you know that's all you?
That's all me.
That's
Yep.
amazing.
I didn't do it alone.
You know what? You didn't.
No.
And actually, your story, we got to go back.
Okay.
Because before people can really appreciate how God is using you to do all these amazing things, get us off the couch with our bag of chips,
Yeah.
He personally transformed your life
He did.
and your marriage. Your journey toward health and healing, it really is about turning to Christ first, right?
Mhm.
So, can you take us back and tell us a little bit about who you were before you came to faith and you found Jesus?
How far back are we going?
Yeah, well, not too far back.
We don't want
Yeah.
to go too far back.
Yeah.
Well, I was raised in a Catholic home,
Right.
so I did have knowledge of something outside of myself.
Yeah.
But it was a challenging place to be because it wasn't very Jesus driven. It was like I felt very ritualistic, and I think I really struggled with seeing a lot of hypocrisy
Right.
and thinking that it should be one way and then not knowing. So
Yeah.
without going too far in the weeds there, um, I led a very colorful life, I
Okay.
think
Well,
might be
yeah.
the
Fair.
proper word.
Yeah.
But it was one of like confusion
Yeah.
because the the direction wasn't really available for me.
Yeah.
I struggled with abuse and trauma and sexual abuse, and there was a lot of pain. So it was like
Yeah.
when you go through that in such a young age, like, and then then you already have conflicting feelings about, is there really anything out there? Because how
Yeah.
could there be if this is being allowed to happen in
Yeah.
my life? So then just took my life into my own hands and decided to fall into some unfortunate traps.
Yeah.
Alcohol, drugs, a lot of drugs,
Yeah.
a lot of hidden. Nobody really knew about it. I was
Right.
really good at hiding that, and just questioning my sexuality. Not a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of different angles that I just really, really struggled with.
Yeah. And it's fair to say, like when we face trauma and pain in our life, we're looking for anything really to bring us comfort,
Hmm.
even if they're the wrong things or the unhealthy things, right?
Yeah,
You
and you
tell,
can you can tell yourself that like the things that you're doing to kind of cope with that
yeah.
like they're okay because they're not as bad
Mm,
as maybe something that someone else is doing.
mm.
Yeah.
You got married
Hmm.
and Mike is your husband,
Yeah.
and boy, you guys were in a bad place.
Hmm.
And it was in that place now, years into your marriage, really, you've told me, I mean, the marriage was basically falling apart,
Yeah.
but you guys encountered Christ. Tell
Together.
us what happened.
Yeah, it was really wild. We Mike and I, when we met, it was fast and hard and quick and like just so much love. Like a lot of people would call us like the Spanish lovers because there was so much fire in between us.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, within 7 weeks we were living together. With 7 months we had bought a condo. 11 months we got pregnant for Casey, and then at around 2 years old, just before she turned two, we bought our house, got married, and didn't really like know how to communicate. We didn't really know because we didn't have time to really get to know each other
Right.
too, because everything happened so fast. So we were really, really struggling and not communicating, and And it was to the point that I was like, it's time for us to take a break. And then we ended up going on a date when Bailey was 8 months old and Casey was 4. And there we ended up meeting a band, a worship band,
Right.
but we didn't even know what worship was.
Yeah.
So it was kind of neat that like when people say that sometimes you don't really see like God move, but then there's this one was like, oh, this is like not on, like this doesn't feel like normal,
Yeah.
right? From what we were used to kind of experiencing.
Yeah.
And so it ended up being that the people that we met actually were a worship band in the town that we live.
Wow.
And we were in Buffalo. We live
Yeah.
in Grimsby. So from there, 4 months later, right before Bailey turned 1, it was the day before her first birthday, we got baptized together.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Ended up at this church and
Mhm.
talking, in this restaurant or whatever with this worship band, and you're
Yeah.
just like, that was God's intervention in your life.
We didn't even really know that that was God's intervention in our life, but something stood out to me that was different in my husband.
Okay.
Well, we were sitting, he's like, I feel drawn to like go talk to these guys. And he's not like that. He's very introverted. I'm the extrovert in the family. And I was kind of looking over, he's like sent them like a round of drinks over. And I'm
Yeah.
like, we're on mat leave. Like we don't even have any money right now.
Yeah.
So why are we doing that to guys we don't even know? And then he went over and sat with them. And then they knew the music that he knew. Like, and
Wow.
he wasn't raised in a
Yep.
in a faith-filled home or anything too. So there was like kind of no knowledge of that for him
Right.
too.
Yeah.
And then they said to me, they're like, why don't you come and have a coffee at our church? And I was like, you can drink coffee in church. I'm in.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
that's where it all started. And
That's incredible.
we just kept going back.
And you just kept going back, and you've
Mm.
both grown in your faith. And I
Yep.
mean, there's the ups and downs, but really, I know you give God credit for your marriage.
There 100%. There's no doubt in my mind. I give God credit for a lot of things. But when I say like, why, like when people ask me like, like, why are you a Christian? Like, why do you follow Jesus? Because I don't think I could have ever done any of that on my own. I wasn't doing that on my own, and it
Yeah.
wasn't good on my own.
Yeah.
Right. And so all glory to him.
Well, now you're a fitness coach, you do many things, business owner, and faith
Hmm.
has become, it's not a side job. This is like central to everything you do. So, like, how has Christ influenced the way you coach now and mentor others?
It's easier with him there because I don't feel like I have to do it alone. I don't have all the answers. I don't ever
Yeah.
proclaim to. So the transition of me really putting faith into even my bio, right? Like I was scared to do that for a little while.
Yeah.
Not because I was afraid of my faith, but there's a lot of people that will pass judgment.
Right.
And in reality, people are just, no matter whatever, wherever you are in your journey on faith, no faith, whatever it is, most people just judge. So I had to just accept that I wanted to be more real and authentic
Yeah.
and myself.
Yeah.
And it just was easier to coach people when I knew that we can align in that way because I could speak life into them
Yeah.
in such a different way because getting healthy it's actually not that hard.
We're going to get to that. Why is it not that
But
hard?
okay, I will. But
Yeah.
but definitely like it's a lot easier when you have him. So like we bring him on our journey and our finances and our marriages and our kids and all these things, and then we also need him there
Right.
in our
Right.
lives too. And then I was like, I coach coaches also for John Goodman, and when I teach them, like our main thing is we need to decide who our avatar is. Who do we really want to work with? Because if you are trying to work with everyone, you're really not going to work with anyone.
Right.
Right. And so when I started like picturing that ideal person, it was first couples, because I was like, when you do it together, because I went through a transformation in my marriage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when we do things together, things are easier.
Right.
Like, and I would see men maybe like not give the support to the women that I was working with, and it
Right.
would sabotage them,
Yeah.
or they didn't feel supported on the journey. So I was like, well, if I can get both of them,
Yeah.
then we have this duo just kind of coming in together and
Yeah.
being well,
Yeah.
even with their different needs, right?
Yeah.
So that's really like how it and just getting bolder to put my
Yeah.
faith in there just made it a
Yeah.
lot easier.
Well, and then people that would say yes to that would be like people that actually want perhaps to grow in faith and see it as part of them. When we come back, I want to ask you more specifically then what you do. Like, how do we get off the couch
Yeah.
with our, how do we put the potato chips down? Uh,
They're the hardest ones to put away, but sure.
exactly, exactly. We're going to be right back with Christa Baker. Get ready, put the chips away, okay, people?
Yeah.
And let's learn how to live healthy. We'll be right back.
Hey friends, I want to help you in this journey called life. And one of the ways we do that is by partnering with you through our monthly devotional. And this resource is designed to help you walk through the Bible, to reflect on its application, to engage in prayer, and have something meaningful to ponder each day. And it becomes the substance of what I teach from each day on the perspective. And we'll cover an entire month at a time in each devotional booklet. If you'd like to receive your own copy, simply visit our website at theperspective.tv/devo, and we'll make sure it reaches you in time. We also deeply appreciate your prayers and ministry gifts, which help us continue offering this devotional each month.
Well, welcome back. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling a little guilty about the bag of chips
No.
on my
No
couch.
guilt.
But no, but thank you, Krista, for being here. Tell me about Baker Family Fitness. You talked about you do coaching and you mentioned an avatar. I'm assuming that means your target audience,
Yeah.
the people
Yeah.
that you are called to serve.
Yeah, your niche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Baker Family Fitness, what is it?
So we have pivoted from, well, we do work with a lot of couples and we really enjoy working with couples, but we love when the family gets involved. And so we realized like our kids are 13 and 9 now. So we wanted to create an opportunity for them to have a good connection with movement and food and the language that we choose. And I've got girls, so like
Yeah.
I'm on guard a little bit here
Right.
with the imagery and the things that we see on a daily basis. And so what we do is we help the family set realistic goals together. Oftentimes it will start with the mom wanting to make changes because I think the mom is really key in
Yeah.
making a lot of the changes in the home. Typically we are God gave us the gift of that nurturing.
Mhm.
So we typically do take care of that in the home. I mean, a lot of us work too. So
Yeah.
there's a balance and having the support from both husband and wife. And then getting the kids to be a part of it
Yeah.
is really important for us too. So we have a 2-day program, a 2-day workshop that we do in churches.
Oh, wow.
So, churches have all of these like marriage weekends where you can
Yep.
come and sign up. So we can come into the church and teach what we call the mustard seed of health.
Okay.
So, God says we need a mustard seed of faith.
Yeah.
Well, we believe that you just need a mustard seed to start understanding what it is that is going to help us do this so it's sustainable, right? So that it's that
Yes.
long-term process. And then, so when people are like, I want more, I would like to work with you and learn more and actually achieve these goals,
Yeah.
they have to come through our Firm Foundation program. And so I built out very short, bite-size bits of knowledge that I truly believe most people need in order to achieve their goals.
Okay.
And like sifting through the noise, because it's
Yeah.
the nutrition health
Oh,
industry.
so much.
Oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
high fat, low fat, like whatever it is
I
that
know.
like
Which
so
diet should you be on? Which
yeah,
exercise should
you
you
shouldn't even
do?
call it a diet, just like what so I have
Yeah.
like my opinions when it comes to different things when it
Yeah.
comes to that, but what's the thing that I can do in my life with my family
Yeah.
with my goals?
Love
Because
it.
we all culturally eat differently,
Mhm.
like we all have different schedules.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a shift worker,
Right.
I have a business owner, I
Yeah.
was homeschooling kids for 3 years. Like,
Wow.
I mean, we can find ways to make it work.
Yeah.
It's you just have to do the work.
I really like that. I'd love to know sort of these core essentials that you talk about, but
Mm.
you mentioned macros and
Yeah, when we
micros.
were speaking,
I
you're like,
know. I'm like,
what does that even
what
mean?
does that even mean? Macros and micros.
Okay,
So,
so in the nutrition world, your macros are your protein, your protein, your carbs, and your fats.
okay,
Okay.
I got that.
Your micros are your minerals and your vitamins. So it's just those micronutrients.
Okay.
But when I say like people focus on like the micros versus the macros, they're focusing on the things that don't actually really get the needle moving.
Okay.
Like they're really good at getting their green juice in or their apple cider vinegar before
Right.
they drink whatever, but they haven't addressed their daily activity. They
Right.
haven't addressed how much protein that they get in a day. They haven't addressed the fact that, so you almost skip steps when you don't do that.
Right.
The thing is with the stuff that actually works, there's nothing attractive about it.
So what is the stuff that actually works? What's the macros? What are
What are the
things
biggest things that will
yeah.
get the needle moving?
Yeah.
Really analyzing like what it is that you're currently doing. So
Okay.
most people have no awareness over food.
Mm,
Like I thought I ate healthy, or I got the salad, and you're like, well, that salad actually had 1,200 calories. You should have just got the burger that had 500.
right.
But we're sacrificing. So like creating awareness around what we're consuming. So I typically will get people just show me what's going on. Don't make any changes.
Yeah.
Just let me see, and then we can start adjusting. And sometimes it's not taking things away. Sometimes it's let's add just a little bit more here,
Yeah.
and then it's complete.
Right.
Because most women live in like restrict,
Mm,
binge,
yeah.
hide, shame. All of those
Mm,
things are connected to it, right?
yeah.
So if we learn how to have this, like, I'm going to go and have some ice cream tonight, not feel guilty about it. Like,
Right.
why would we? We shouldn't
Yeah.
feel guilty around food.
Right.
So I think like when I look at the macro approach, that and like strength training, like when it comes to movement, strength training and walking are so underrated. Well,
Yeah.
strength training is scary to a lot of people.
Yes.
And they're like, I don't
And do you
know
have to go
how,
to a
when.
gym? Do you have to own a
No,
gym to do strength training?
no. I start my clients all start with just a couple sets of dumbbells, bands.
Yeah.
And then they get excited because they're like, oh, what can I
Yeah.
add to this? And then we start changing their plan up. Well, now we can implement these different things. If they want to go to a gym, my program design gets a lot more easier,
Yeah.
but we don't want to rely on all of these external things that are going to stop us from actually achieving what it is we want to achieve.
Right.
If I can wake up in the morning and just get it done and out of the way, I'm going to provide this like energy for the day, this sense of accomplishment, the fact that I showed up for myself,
Yeah.
the fact that like, and then you realize that it's actually not that hard.
Mm,
We make it harder on ourselves by
Yeah.
creating barriers,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I feel like
Healthy.
that with food too. I always like, it's like just create distance between you and the thing that you really struggle with.
Mm,
So it's like you actually have to get up in the like blistering cold like yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going out. Like if it was in my house, I might be like, oh, it's nice and cozy. I'm just going to have this here. But if it's not there and I actually have to get up and like get in my car and go and get it,
Right.
there's something blocking me from
Mhm.
going and doing it, right?
Yeah.
So
But we can click to order far too easy in
true,
our
true.
culture
Yes.
and have it delivered to our door.
Well, if you can't
to,
afford coaching, then you should stop do that
Yeah,
because
well-
you're like all of those added fees.
yeah, there you go.
We're just making up excuses at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for people who want to get on a healthier journey, what do you say? What's like the first step they need to do? A simple step.
Commit to
Next
the
step.
Lord. Think about Jesus when he was in the wilderness for 40 days. Like
Mm,
he was able to sustain all of that. And I don't think that we have to, like, we all want to get a little step closer to the Lord, right?
mm,
I think we have to stop trying to do it on our own.
Yeah.
With everything in life, we need to have like that level of support. And sometimes,
Mm.
you know, like I said, the industry is so noisy that we don't know where to start. So it's like, just start by putting your shoes on and
Yeah.
see that the connection. Like to me, it's like I just put
Yeah.
my workout clothes. So then when I put it on, my mind is telling me, oh,
Yeah.
it's time to work out.
Time to be active.
It's like when I get up in the morning and I open up my devotion, my brain is like, oh, it's time for the Lord right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
So
yeah.
finding like and then honestly, like if you don't know how to figure it out on your own, get some help. I'm not figuring out my plumbing on my own.
Right.
Like I really do think that we need the support. I think
Yeah.
that it's really good to have somebody that's going to be in your corner.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and we need it in so many ways. Like you don't know how to figure out your finances, you go see a financial advisor.
That's right.
So that's really my honest opinion, because I've watched way too many people try to do it and waste years and then end up getting sick,
Yeah.
and then that snowballs into their future,
Hmm.
and then it doesn't, it might be a little bit harder. It's never too late,
Okay.
ever.
That's good. Yeah.
Ever too late. I'm a firm believer. Like, I've watched
Yeah.
testimonies of 70-year-olds that are now doing gymnastics.
Right.
So if they can do it,
Yeah.
anybody can.
I totally am with you. One of my inspirations, I do go to a gym because it
Mhm.
gets me out of the house. And I see a lot of instructors that are like a decade older
I
than
know, I
me, and
love
they're
it.
killing it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to be like them when I grow up. So, how do people get a hold of you, Krista, if they'd like to take some next steps in coaching?
Well, I'm on
Are there
Facebook,
family? Yeah.
but Instagram, Baker Family Fitness. I
Okay.
have a website. In there, there's for the different levels of coaching. So the mustard seed is like everyone goes through that no matter what. And then our Fit for Kingdom is like, we're sticking to this. We want to be here for a while. We know that most
Okay.
people really, really do start there, because a lot of people are very aware of that struggle.
Yeah.
So there's a way to apply there, but I would prefer the social media platform.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, find Krista Baker, Baker Family Fitness.
That's right.
I follow you. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thanks for
Thanks for
having
your
me.
inspiration. I promise I am going to put the chips
Yeah, no,
aside.
you don't have to. You can have some.
Actually, I do. I find,
If you have control,
that's what I do.
yeah,
I do.
then
But
yeah.
thank you for that reminder. Okay, people, get your shoes on.
Yeah.
And that's the first step to take a step towards a healthier living. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name's Ryan Walter. I played a little bit in the NHL. We do lots of leadership development right now. And have you ever heard of a guy by the name of Harry Houdini? Love this guy. He was an escape artist. He used to escape out of jails. One jail he couldn't get out, just one, caught him inside. Guess what they did? They didn't lock the door. He believed that the door was locked. You know, it's interesting. Belief is important, right? Jesus said, do not fear, just believe.
Have you ever had to move on, to leave a place and go somewhere else? In the ministry that God has given to my wife, Terry, and myself, we have moved many times. We've lived in 4 provinces across Canada. I'm thankful to say that every time we've moved, it's been difficult. And the reason it's been difficult is because of the friendships that we have built. Yes, there's been tears, and we still keep in touch with people all across Canada. That is a gift in itself. But moving on has been hard. It's challenging. And we come to this same reality in the book of Acts. Paul was with the people at Ephesus, and now it's time to move on. Listen to his words. Paul sent to Ephesus for the elders of the church, and when he arrived, he said to them, "You know how I lived the whole time I was with you. From the first day I came into the province of Asia, I served the Lord with great humility, with tears, and in the midst of severe testing, even though there were plots by Jewish opponents." And he goes on to talk about the importance of how he wants to finish the race that God had called him to do. That's why he was moving on, because God was directing him to move on. It wasn't because he was having conflict with the people. No, just the opposite. They were his dear brothers and sisters. And then he admonishes them, to the leaders, listen to these words. He says, keep watch over yourselves and all the flock which the Holy Spirit has made you overseers. Be shepherds of the church of God, which he bought with his own blood. And then he says, I commit you to God and to the word of his grace, which can build you up and give you an inheritance among all those who are sanctified. And when Paul had finished speaking, he knelt down with all of them and he prayed. And they wept as they embraced him and kissed him. This is a powerful moment. And what grieved them most was his statement that they would never see his face again. And then they accompanied him to the ship. Well, Paul was dealing with his own reality and knowing that he would be moving on and likely not returning because of the possibility of losing his own life. None of us know when circumstances call us to move on, but living without regrets is key. Are you doing that? Are you living without regrets? If you had to pack up and move tomorrow, would you need to be running to all sorts of people to say, I need to sort out some details? We had a grievance. We had a problem. Don't live that way. Live as if today is your last moment. Let your legacy be a living legacy as you choose to love and care for people. I remember we were living on the other side of the country and my mom and dad were very elderly. My mom would always say on the phone, "Michael, I love you." And then my dad would get on the phone and his voice was getting weaker, but he would say, "Michael, I want you to know that I love you." And then he would say, "Tell all the girls," and we have 5 daughters, "to tell all the girls that we love them." You see, the beauty of the passage of Paul is that he gives us an example in all of this. He speaks to the elders who he put in charge, and he says, "I want you to take care of the people." There's something there for us to learn, the calling of elders and leaders in the church. But when he kneels on the beach with them, the powerful picture is of a band of believers who deeply love Christ and love one another. And while it is a painful separation, it really doesn't get any better than this side of heaven. How sad it would have been if it was just the opposite. As they say, "Paul, good riddance. We want to get rid of you. Get lost. Get on the boat and get out of here." Or people would say, "Don't slam the door on the way out." It says in chapter 21, verse 1, after we had torn ourselves away from them, we put out to sea. What a strong picture of a relationship. I want to invite you today to ask God to begin to work through you and in your circles of friendships to say, "Lord, I want to build strong relationships that will go the distance, that will bring honor to you this side of heaven, and when we meet again in the very presence of Jesus, who we love."
Will you donate 2 hours of your time? Crossroads Prayer Center is seeking people with a heart willing to join in the amazing work God is doing through prayer. Providing over 1,300 prayer interactions daily, Crossroads Prayer Partners speak biblical truth and words of life over people's need. Join in God's transforming work through prayer and enrich your faith. Learn more at crossroads.ca/prayervolunteer.
I'm so glad you joined us today. I'm sure you were inspired by Christa's story, the restoration of God in her life, and then how she's helping her and her husband, helping so many families not just get healthy physically, but emotionally and spiritually, just a holistic approach. If you need help today in any area of your life, won't you call us for prayer? 1-855-910-6297. There's trusted prayer partners on the end of that phone there that will pray with you about anything. So don't be afraid. Just reach out for help. And also go to theperspective.tv. We have free resources there. Mike creates a monthly devotional that he'd love to send you. We want you to be encouraged. So whatever you're going through, remember what Krista said, like, don't keep it to yourself. Like, you've got to share, reach out for help. You go to the plumber for expertise in plumbing. Well, go to others for expertise and help in the areas of growth that you're looking for. Thank you for watching today. It's been great to be with you.